What's up guys? It looks like the rotating stand is the new trend among projectors, because every other new projector has it. For example, last week we tested a budget projector with a 360-degree stand. Now we have another projector from SkyEcho. It also has a rotating stand, but 270 degrees instead of 360. However, it features autofocus, auto keystone correction, and even a smart system with built-in apps. Despite the compact size of the projector, it has a powerful dual 10-watt speaker that is integrated into the stand. With all this, the price of the projector is very affordable, only $119 on Amazon. Okay, let's do a full review of the new SkyEcho FreeONE projector and start with unboxing. You know the projector comes in a rectangular box, which is not very common. On the side of the box, we can see information about the manufacturer and a QR code to contact SkyEcho. It looks like I have a projector in red color. It is also available in blue and red. When I opened the box, I realized why it was rectangular in shape, because of the carrying case. By the way, the case is very durable and it has a convenient handle. Inside the case, we have a projector itself, as well as power adapter, remote control, HDMI cable, and user manual. So there is no tripod or a projection screen included here, but you don't really need them, because the projector has a stand and you can project on the ceiling. Wow, the color of this projector is something special. I don't know why other manufacturers are afraid of the bright colors. I have the SkyEcho FreeONE in red, but it is also available in a limited color with the same red stand but blue projector. To be honest, I like my version better. I have said many times that I like the idea of a rotating stand in projectors, because it is very comfortable. You know, the projector body is longer than the stand, so it doesn't rotate 360 degrees. However, I don't think that it is a problem. You can still project onto the floor, although why would you do that? You will most likely be projecting an image on the wall or ceiling. You can do this very quickly. However, you will have to make some effort, because the stand is very stiff. You should hold the stand with one hand and rotate the projector with the other. It is almost impossible to rotate with one hand. I think this is more an advantage than a disadvantage, because the stand looks and feels very reliable. Looking at this projector, I wouldn't even say its price is a little over $100. Another feature in design of the SkyEcho FreeONE projector is a speaker built into the stand. I think this is a brilliant solution, because most compact projectors have very small and weak speakers, but here it is really big. We will check its quality a little later. On the front of the projector we can see a lens. There is also something like a camera above the lens, but it is actually an autofocus and auto keystone correction sensor, and audio receiver is below. On the back there is a large ventilation window, as well as power connector, HDMI port, AV port, and USB port. The second audio receiver for remote control is also here. By the way, unlike the previous projector I tested on our channel Tech Brothers, the SkyEcho FreeONE has control buttons on its body. And there is a power button on the top, as well as volume up, down, and mute on the side. However, the remote control is still required to operate the projector. I like this remote, because it doesn't look like other budget projectors' remotes. First, it has a mouse cursor button, as well as focus control buttons. I also noticed a microphone hole on the back. It looks like a remote, and projector support voice control. That's awesome! By the way, I told you that you don't need a tripod for this projector, because it comes with a built-in rotating stand. But there is a tripod mount at the bottom, so you can still place it on a tripod. Now from the design, we are move on to the user interface. This is the next feature of the SkyEcho projector. So when you first turn on the projector, it will automatically adjust autofocus and correct keystone. Then we are invited to read about the remote control buttons, select a system language, and connect to Wi-Fi network. Before we start talking about the interface, let's check out the keystone correction. So when you move the projector up and down, the keystone correction is almost instantaneous. It works really fast. As for autofocus, it is activated when you move the projector closer or farther away from the wall. If you don't like the way autofocus works, you can manually adjust it with a remote control. Okay, now let's look at the smart system of the SkyEcho FreeONE. You know, I have tested some projectors with the same system before. Even though it is not an Android TV OS, I like it. On the home screen we have recommended apps such as Netflix, another Netflix, YouTube, Prime Video and Disney+. There are also recently opened apps Your Cinema, Global News and Music Fantasy on the homepage. Let's open some streaming services. Before that, you need to install the apps. Netflix, Prime Video and Disney Plus seem to work fine, but I don't have any accounts to log into. However, I was able to log into my YouTube account. We will come back to it a little later. In addition to streaming services, you can install many other apps from App Store and Google Play Store. By the way, if we go to File Manager, we can see that the projector has 3.5 gigs of available memory, but 1.4 gigs of it is in use. There are also home theater apps, excited sports apps, and education-first apps available on this projector. Finally, you can go to the video and music pages, but all the videos here are from YouTube.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to FilmSpot, and today we will be talking about the best upcoming movies.
Okay, now let's have a look at the settings menu. First, there are network settings, where we can connect to a new Wi-Fi network. Then we have a Bluetooth, but we will talk about it a little later. You can also select the input signal in the settings menu. I think the most important settings are display. Here we can change the picture mode, as well as manually adjust brightness, contrast, hue, saturation and sharpness. Then there's auto keystone correction, manual keystone, autofocus, manual focus, screen scaling, and projection mode. The new SkyEcho projector also has general and system settings. You know, this projector has a smart system, so you don't need to connect any external device to watch some video. However, there is a screen mirroring support here, and I think this will be useful to many. Let me show you how to connect a smartphone to the projector. First, make sure your mobile device and projector are connected to the same Wi-Fi network. Then open the AirPin app if you have an iPhone and Mirrorcast app if you have an Android device. Now take your smartphone, go to screen mirroring and select the projector. That's it. Now you can watch Instagram, TikTok and other apps on the big screen. The SkyEcho FreeONE projector also supports bidirectional Bluetooth. It means that you can connect wireless headphones or external speakers to the projector. Just go to the Bluetooth menu and select your Bluetooth device. In addition, you can use a projector as a Bluetooth speaker for your phone. For that, you need to go to the Bluetooth speaker on the projector, then take your mobile device and connect to the projector in the Bluetooth menu. That's it. Music from your smartphone plays through the projector's speaker. You can also turn off the projection screen. As I said before, the speaker is one of the main features of this projector, because it is built into the stand. The speaker power is 10 watts, which is quite a lot for a compact projector. Let's listen to some songs. By the way, you could hear the fan noise when you were listening to music. That's because my camera was placed very close to the projector. SkyEcho FreeONE is actually very quiet. The noise level near the projector is 48 decibels. And it is 44 decibels at 1 meter. Finally, we can talk about image quality. I think you have already noticed that the projector's image is not very sharp. It is good in the center, but blurry around the edges. You must understand that this is a budget projector around $100, and you shouldn't expect miracles from it. The native resolution of the SkyEcho FreeONE is 720p. Although you can see individual pixels at very close range, the image looks good from some distance. You can read the text without any problems. By the way, I put the projector 3 meters away from the wall, and I have a screen size of about 100 inches. In general, the projector supports a screen size up to 200 inches at 5.5 meters. Despite the 720p native resolution, the projector has pretty good contrast level of 15,000 to 1. The image really has good colors. As for the brightness, it is 350 anti-lumens, and this is very good for a compact budget projector. Let's watch some videos.
Without a drop of nobility in his blood.
We're drinking champagne and we're eating amazing food.
So do you think the human sacrifice is before or after dinner?
You guys don't do interviews, so I had to hire you guys.
I'm here for Justin.
Lucy,
You're a juicy box.
No matter what, we're gonna beat the shit out of him.
I have a better idea.
He has been off with a shot early, trying to get his confidence back. Stepping up and lofts it. He is picked off.
They have that ability to do it. But they also have the ability to win a game in a short passage of play.
While the brightness of the projector is more than enough for watching in a dark room, it is not a good idea to use the projector in a bright room. I think the SkyEcho FreeONE is better to use in a dark room, just like any other budget projector.
Stepping up and lofts it into the second half for Kansas City.
Entire game because you've got two guys down. Have a good time?
We're having a great time. We're drinking champagne.
Have a good time?
We're having a great time. We're drinking champagne.
To be honest, I am surprised by this budget projector. For the price of a little over $100, it has very nice design with a rotating stand, autofocus and keystone correction, a smart operating system with built-in apps, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth support, and a powerful built-in speaker. Yes, it has a native 720p resolution, but thanks to good brightness and contrast level, the image looks decent. The SkyEcho FreeONE is a good budget projector for home theater. Thank you for watching. See you soon!